Hello, world.
And we're locked in. Myself, Max Van Auken, Dave the Wave. To my left, could be your right if you're listening, not too sure. You look fresh. The hair looks good. I say this every episode because it's true every episode.
But Max, it's a podcast. They don't know what left, right. I'm above you, under you, in.
Whoa,
wait,
what?
wait.
No.
Dude,
All right. wait. Okay, listen.
Too far.
Anyway, my cousin, my brother, sometimes you go a little overboard, but here we go, guys. We appreciate the numbers representing how much you guys are into us, and it means the world to us, so please keep it up. It's a purple app. It's called Apple Podcast on iPhones. For those that don't have iPhones, you like Androids, it's Stitcher Radio, it's an iHeartRadio, it's a Spotify. Any podcast platform locked in with two ends, there's a space in between, is on. And it's crucial that you hit that download, you hit that subscribe button so you get all of our episodes. Tell a friend that's into sports. We are here for the people.
I couldn't have said it any better myself.
That's probably the best it'll ever be.
Yep.
So that being said, we'll just record this one, clip it into the next episode after that. So download, subscribe, guys, locked in.
Run it on a loop.
There we go.
That's how they say it in the biz.
Before we get into this episode,
In the biz.
there you go. This is an interesting episode, too.
I love it.
We want a big shout out to Pep-Boys. I can't stress enough how crucial it is to have a dependent car.
Dependable.
Yeah. There you go. You already corrected me. Myself, I have car issues. You go to Pep-Boys, get the best deals, the best prices, and you don't have to go back. It's not where it's a reoccurring issue. You go there, fix it, address it. They won't sugarcoat it. If there's something seriously wrong with your car, they will tell you so they can get it done right then and there. Unlike some other shops, they may tell you, oh, this could be wrong, and before you know it, you're spending multiple trips there.
Yeah.
Pep-Boys addresses it right then and there. So, guys, Daytona Beach, Florida, off International. If you're there locally, Pep-Boys, speak to our guy, Richie. Best deals in town.
Yeah, and just make sure you tell him Locked In sent you. He always gives great deals, but if you say Locked In Podcast sent you, I think he gives you a little 10%, a little 12%, a little 15% off. You never know.
Especially, he's a great guy. If you know sports, you mentioned Locked In, the world is yours.
All right, you ready? You throw out this idea to me. I loved it so much, I said, I'm stopping what I'm doing right now. Let's get our podcast equipment. Let's talk to the microphone, which is like talking to the people. So, Max, you take this away. It's an amazing idea. I'm going to let you have the sunshine. Take it away.
Okay, well, with no further ado, I was thinking, and, I think a lot, especially about sports, and I'm thinking, what would Dave like to talk about? What would I like to talk about? What's something that nobody talks about but everybody thinks? Everybody always addresses issues with certain sports. Basketball, baseball, football, MMA, there's always issues. So what if we were a commissioner? We were Roger Goodell. We were Adam Silver. We were Dana White, the president of the UFC. What if we were them? What's the number one thing you would change about that sport? Could be rules, could be regulations, anything. So what Dave and I will do, we'll put ourselves in their shoes, and we'll change one thing with each sport if we were the commissioner or president of the sport. How was that said?
You said it perfectly.
I'm on fire today.
Locked In like always. That's why we are called Locked In. Also, by the way, check us out on Instagram. We are throwing out the best content, pictures. Yeah. So all the podcasts when it comes out. Definitely check us out on Instagram. Locked_NINN. All right, Max, take it away.
Okay, what sport do you want to start off with?
MMA.
All right, well, no secret here, guys. If you follow the Locked In podcast, you know what I'm about to say. If not, let me blow your mind. So in the MMA world, if I was Dana White, the number one thing is a scoreboard, and we brought it up to a numerous amount of fighters, and pretty much everyone is on board, as well as some promoters. There should be a scoreboard. There's a scoreboard in every single sport. Every sport. The fighters should know the score on who won what round, the fans, the coaches, so there's no confusion. A guy thinks he won that round, and he has to wait until the end of the fight to realize he got robbed. If the guy in the red corner is like, oh, I won round one. Oh, wait a second. The judges gave it to the blue corner. I know I have to absolutely win round two. And it would just solve all of this confusion, all the, I wouldn't say like conspiracy, but all of this non-needed drama. You know what I mean, Dave?
Yeah.
It would just end everything.
Absolutely. You know how much I support this idea. We talk to all the fighters we have on the show, live on the podcast, or even when we just meet them out there, in the world and weigh-ins and at the big shows that we go to all the time. Absolutely. I double down on your scoreboard idea, our scoreboard idea, but you're changing the rule right now.
Thank you. It's unnecessary drama with all these judges. And also, there needs to be more 10-8 rounds, like you've been saying.
Yeah.
You can't have two similar, you can't have two rounds, both scored the same, but they're completely different.
Exactly.
There needs to be more 10-8 rounds, and the fighter should be rewarded for being dominant.
Yep. Yeah, I've been saying this for years, not like just recently, for years. Especially if you get that monster punch and you almost knock him out. And sometimes I like when the judges let it go just a tad because you want the guy to have a comeback in a way. But if they have that monster punch and it's like a total game changer, that's a 10-8, right? I love 10-8 rounds. So
Dana, we're doing you a favor. Yep. Listen to this. It will change the sport for the better.
Dean Toole, Mitchell Tamale, come on.
All right, Dave. Now you're Dana White. What do you do?
We've talked about this on a podcast before. I love baseball, basketball, football, and the thing that the MMA world, the UFC, is missing is a season, like a playoff, a tournament, a Grand Prix, kind of like what Bellator does, what PFL does. I just think it will take time. It will take a lot of, 8 smart, intelligent MMA people in a room to really figure out every single detail. But a season it starts with the top 8 fighters. It's kind of like a tournament, but there's also other heavyweight fighters because they want to be in next season in that final 8. And whoever wins the championship. Guys, the Golden State Warriors won the championship last year. They don't have to defend it each week, each game. I just think you're the champion. You're the champion for the whole entire year until you defend it or you lose it to someone else. I just think I would love a season just like in every other sport, baseball, basketball, and football.
We've had this conversation before, and we can go hours on it. It's intriguing, and it's not necessarily a no for me, but like you said, there's definitely a lot of, how Rashad Phillips would say, loopholes with anything that's new.
Sure.
And I think maybe this one would have the most loopholes, so it would have to be something that's well thought out, not rushed, articulated. And if that's the case, I think it could have a positive effect. But, Dave, you're the commissioner. I support you.
The best fruit is at the end of the tree limb.
Did you steal my Muhammad Ali quote?
Nope, I don't think so.
From the root to the fruit?
Something like that, maybe.
Jamie Foxx said it in the movie.
He did. I like Jamie Foxx. There's a lot of things to talk about it and get through and a lot of details to iron out. But in the long run, a season, a tournament format, so there's not, people don't feel like, wait, Brock Lesnar just can't come in and fight DC for the championship. Even like Derek Lewis, maybe Curtis Blades deserved that matchup. It's more of a structure.
Yeah.
People know what's coming up next. People can already, wow, if this guy wins this fight, if Khabib wins, now he's definitely fighting Tony Ferguson. Right now we have no idea. He could fight 6 different guys and we don't know. So I think it would be beneficial for the fans and for the MMA fans to put this into effect immediately.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's our UFC. If we were Dana White, if we were the president of the UFC, the rules we would change. Dave wants a playoff structure.
Yes.
Regular season structure. I want a scoreboard. Well, so do you. And I want more 10-8 rounds. Now, Dave, let's move to the NFL.
Ooh, okay.
You're Roger Goodell. You're Roger Goodell. You're in his shoes. You're getting all these complaints. I mean, let's not get political, but a serious issue is the Kaepernick situation. Is that a rule that you keep in consideration? Should people not kneel? Should they kneel? What would you do if you were Roger Goodell?
All right. It's the most popular sport in America. The ratings are unbelievable. Fans are coming to it, 70,000 a week. I'm not going to go into political. I think it will work its way out. I want this. I want more. I want more playoff teams. In each sport, in basketball, there's an 8 playoff team. And it goes 8-4-2-1, like an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference.
Certainly.
And the AFC and NFC, there's 6, and 2 teams get a bye. I just think that's, it's almost too much. They deserve home field advantage. They deserve to play a lesser team. If you're the 1 seed, you play an 8 seed. So usually, just say, an example, the AFC, the Patriots are the 1 seed, they would play the Jets. They're probably gonna beat the Jets.
Yeah.
That's what they deserve. They won enough games in the regular season to be the 1 seed, and Jets are the 8 seed. What I think this does, a couple things. The number one, 2 more teams are in the postseason. That means 2 more fan bases, organizations are happy. They're in the postseason. Coaches keep their job. Players keep, the quarterbacks keep their job. More players and coaches had a successful season. Secondly, 2 more teams are happier they made the postseason, but that means probably there's another team or 2, the 9th or the 10th seed, who are probably in the last week of the season still alive. While the Colts are 1-5, but we still have a chance to have a comeback and be 7-9 and sneak into the playoffs maybe. So now you're giving more teams more hope at the end of the year. Guys, right now the Colts are 1-5. They don't have a shot to make the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, I want to give teams more hope. I want to give an organization more success making the playoffs, and it just makes sense. Like, I just don't like buys. I just think that's unhealthy for the sport. They get a week off. They get the rest. Like, why do the best teams need more an advantage? They're already the best teams. They already got home field. They get another advantage of a week off, of not getting hit. I want 8 playoff teams for both conferences.
Gives them a sense of direction, a sense of purpose for sure. Well, great job, Roger. I'm sorry, Commissioner David.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner David Van Auken. Now, let me step into these shoes. These size 12, 12 and a half. If anyone wants to buy me a pair of shoes, feel free. 12, 12 and a half. It's hard to find in the stores, but man, there's so many websites online. There's no excuses. Okay, so what I would do with the NFL, like you said, it's the number 1 network on several television stations. It's number 1 show on several networks. What I would do is stick with what's good and change what needs to get tweaked. Don't, like what they say, if it's broke, don't fix it kind of thing.
Yep.
But I'm fixing a couple things here. There should be the conferences. You look at the NBA, it makes sense. You have the Orlando Magic, you have the Miami Heat, you have the Hawks because they're right there. You have the AFC North, you have the AFC South, you have NFC East, and these teams don't really resemble why they're in that conference. You know what I mean, Dave?
Yeah, I totally agree.
And if you can get more structure, and it's kind of like we're tweaking the best sport in the world, so it's already great. I'm not trying to change the world here, but that little tweak, I think, can help more casual viewers, more casual fans. I think it, just like you said with the UFC, more structure the better. If it makes sense, I think it would work. And I think it would mix up the NFL too, because if you have different conferences now, it would form new rivalries. It's not eliminating the old ones, because old ones will always be rivalries, but it's forming new ones.
Yeah.
And it would add more drama. And what does the NBA do better than any sport? They hold storylines way past their season, where the offseason for the NBA is almost more interesting than the regular season now. So if the NFL did this, it would create more storylines, more rivalries, more trash talk, and now fan bases would be engaged that never were engaged like this before. So that's the first one. How do you feel about it?
Cuzzo, I love it. 2 things you didn't say I think it would help a lot. For one, it's travel.
Yeah.
The Dolphins, guys, they play the Jets and the Patriots in their division, which is a horrible travel. It's, Miami to New York. What happened if Miami would play Jacksonville and they drive a bus to Jacksonville? It's like, guys, the travel that it takes a toll on all these players. And I agree with the rivals. Matt, and the Florida rival of Jacksonville and Miami to be in the same division, that would be so cool. So I'm all for it. I think it's a great idea.
Well, thank you. And now the other thing, it's not necessarily a rule or a policy, but it's a mindset. I think players should use their leverage more, and Roger should influence player mobility. We have all of these stars, and we see what it's doing for the NBA. I can't reiterate it enough. The offseason has been such a huge success for the NBA. It's transcending all of sports. and you're more worried about where's Kevin Durant going next year, will Anthony Davis be a Laker, some people aren't even focused on the regular season. They want to predict the next move. If Aaron Rodgers, granted he got a huge contract, and that's going to happen, people will stay. If you're stuck in a situation and you deserve better and you're better than the franchise that's surrounding you, it may be chaotic, maybe a bad front office, maybe a bad coach, they should use their leverage and move places. And I would love to see Cam Newton, you know what? And I know this may kill some of those loyal fans out there that love the loyalty of sports. And I'm not saying you can't be loyal, but anybody would take a better job opportunity. Anybody would. Anybody would seek a better education if you could. So quarterbacks, I'm using quarterbacks as an example because they usually have the most leverage, but any player, any position could do this. Go to a situation that's better for you. Exercise player mobility a little bit more. And some players do it, but I think it could be done all around the league a little bit better.
Okay, wow. This is probably the first time of this episode that we're changing major rules and policies. And you said mindsets that I disagree, or you disagree with me. I disagree. One reason why I think football is the most popular sport on all these TV stations, on all these channels, that Pittsburgh knows 8 years ago, now, and 2 years from now, that Ben Roethlisberger is their quarterback. They can really sink their teeth into their players, their team. The Carolina Panthers know that Greg Olson's their tight end, Cam Newton's their quarterback, and Christian McCaffrey's their running back. Like, that's just something that the NBA is just a revolving door of players and teams, which, I think it works more for the NBA. It's a little bit more mobility and all of the fans. And I think NFL is more blue-collar. People go to work, they stay at their job longer. And I think they appreciate Aaron Rodgers being a Packer almost probably for his whole career. So I think in other sports I would agree. In football, Max, I'm sorry, I disagree.
Yeah, the NFL fan base is more blue-collar, and the NBA, the players are more empowered. Now, I'm not saying every player should move every single year. Big Ben, if he likes the situation he's in, stay with Pittsburgh. Be there. Be loyal. I'm not saying you can't be there and be loyal. You're always going to have those people who will be there and be loyal. But why aren't we encouraging – Dave, you would encourage anybody in life to do something that you want to do. Why wouldn't you encourage an NFL player to do that? If there's a better situation where – just say they're involved with a chaotic franchise. They deserve better. They deserve more. They want to go in somewhere and be happy and flourish in that other spot. Don't you think there's a lot of players that probably feel that way now?
There might be, but one thing that's so great about football, you go to first to last and back up to first. No one thought the Chiefs this year going into it was going to be the best team in the league, and they are. The Browns finally got a quarterback. They're back up. It fluctuates so quick. How about the Bengals? No one thought the Bengals would be great. The Bears. So you can go, last to first pretty quickly. And
that's true.
You stick with a team. You stick with some players. You change a coach. You change a quarterback. And everything changes. So, hey, tomato. I just disagree on this one, but let's roll to the NBA. This is going to be one of my favorites. Do you want to take it, or you want me to?
Are you passing me the ball? You're the point guard, Dave. You have to decide what happens on the court. I can't read your mind. Call the play.
Max, I'm a shooter. Once a shooter, always a shooter.
So you're a shoot first. I knew it.
Go ahead.
Shot. Go ahead.
All right. This is something I'm really committed about. I'm really passionate about. This is probably, to me, the most serious. What's wrong about all these policies are just like things I would like to change. This is something that I just really disagree with.
Okay, right? Let's hear it. It's getting a little emotional.
Hey,
Are you emotionally invested in this one?
Maybe.
You going to shed a tear over here, Dave?
I'm not going to cry, Max. All right. I think the one and done rule in the NBA is complete garbage.
Garbage.
You can send someone to war. You can kick him out of the house and tell him you have to start paying insurance for stuff.
But you can't rent a car, by the way.
Yeah,
but keep going.
Keep
going.
But the best 6'9" scoring wing player who plays defense can't go to the NBA and start a career. Justin Bieber can sing a song and make millions and go off the deep end. But a 6'9" wing player has to go to school, has to go to college, has to wait a year of making money capabilities. And it just drives me crazy. They used to be upset, the GMs would be like, hey, I don't know if this kid's going to be good or not. that's the GM's fault. That's on them to pick good kids. Guys, the Orlando Magic picked Dwight Howard from high school. Emeka Okafor, I remember this. I remember the draft. I thought Emeka Okafor, who just won the national championship for UConn, a great defender, was the player of the year, was a can't-miss power forward / center. And the Orlando Magic had the first pick, and they picked a kid out of high school. And now we go on Dwight now, but when Dwight was Orlando Magic, he took him to the finals. He's still probably an NBA Hall of Famer. It was an absolutely outstanding pick by the Magic. So every pick is not bad, but kids deserve the right. 18-year-olds deserve the right to make money, and they should definitely be able to play in the NBA.
100% agreeance. So there you go. Adam Silver, Commissioner David Van Auken, in agreement with you there. I'm kind of in the same lane with you. I want to empower the players, especially the youth. And when we speak to Rashad about it, how he's emphasized egos and money. And this is like when young players are learning that game. They're learning how much money they're going to make and finances and all the egos that play a part. They're really the business side of basketball. So they're heavily influenced by the franchise they go to, the people they're surrounded with. So the youth should be surrounded by the best they can be surrounded by. They should choose what they want to do. They shouldn't get put in a situation and make it work. So, like you just said, a young man can join the war, a young man or woman can join a war. They can drink. They can do anything they want in this country, make millions of dollars. But all that hard work, all that dedication, ultimately doesn't still let you decide where you want to play in the NBA. Doesn't make any sense to me. Dave, I know you're in agreement with this one too. Players should be able to choose where they want to get drafted. And I think the biggest criticism or backlash we would get is, well, you're going to have too many stacked teams. And I think it's the other way around. Actually, I think the talent would be dispersed evenly better, because then you would have players that want to be the man. They want to stand out. They want to be an all-star right away. They want to make the big money. They would go to a Brooklyn. They would go to a Sacramento. They wouldn't want to go to the Golden State Warriors. They wouldn't want to go to the Lakers necessarily. But then you may get some of those players where you still have very talented players going to good teams, and you also probably get the best players going to a not-so-talented team. So they stand out more, and they get minutes. So you know they're going to adapt to the NBA game better. They're going to transition better. They get those minutes. They get the experience. So I believe the players coming out of college, ready for the NBA, they enter the draft, they choose where they get to go to school.
We've talked about this 10 times. We've had a whole show on it. It was a brainchild from you and I from a year ago. You know me. I'm locked into this idea. And if anyone has any questions or loopholes, call us, reach out to us, join the community on Facebook, ask us questions. I will guarantee you Max and I will have the answers. It just makes perfect sense. Why players, hey, if Jimmy Butler doesn't want to be a Timberwolf, he shouldn't have went to the Timberwolves, but he got traded. Jimmy Butler out of college would have said, hey, I want to be a Clipper. And he would already been a Clipper, and he would have created, a good legacy for himself. So I love this idea. I'm all in.
Guys, if you disagree with what we're saying, if you agree with what we're saying, again, all podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Locked In, 2N Space, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, there's a comment section. Please leave a comment. Whether you agree or not, we will read the comments. I don't care if there's 1 million, if there's 3. Dave and I love reading and talking about sports. We will get to all of those comments. So please leave a comment, download, and subscribe. Locked In. And guys, if you want a better meal for yourself, you want to eat healthier, you want to get in better shape, you want to lose weight, you want to gain weight, you want to become a bigger person, muscles, you want to look like Dave the Wave over here, Fit Meals. Dimitri will hook you up with the best meals that is the best for you. A lot of college students, a lot of people, a lot of adults don't have time to cook. You're busy. You have 2 jobs. Maybe you're going to school full time. You have children. Fit Meals is convenient. It's easy. It's fast. It's affordable. And it's healthy. And whatever your goal is going into this meal plan, Dimitri will adapt and make it work for you. And to get more information on it, if I'm not giving all the details that you need, you can go to myfitmeals.com and start your meal plan anytime you want.
Well
back to you, David Van Auken. You are the MLB commissioner.
All right, this is the last one. We wanted to do 4. NBA, NFL, and UFC, and this is our Major League Baseball commissioner. I was doing a lot of thinking about it because I'm a baseball guy. I'm a New York Yankee guy. I know baseball is not what it used to be 10, 15, 20 years ago. And one reason why is I keep hearing that it's slow. Everyone has iPhones. They can see a highlight, the Venom trailer on their iPhone right away. There's the new Creed trailer. Okay, let me watch it. Oh, wow, it's awesome. I like it. I shared it to my friend already. Everything is so fast. Everything is so quick.
Efficient
As well, except for baseball. It's very slow, methodical, plotted. I just think they need to up the pace. And this is, I think, how. For one, you make the strike zone bigger. You make the batters, one, swing the bat more, or two, if the pitchers are close to it, it's a strike. Like, boom, we're getting strikes out. We're making action. We're creating drama at the plate a little bit quicker. And with that, this is kind of the caveat of it, the pitcher has to throw the ball quicker. No, and the hitter has to stay. As soon as you get into the box, the batter's box, you have to stay there. That's the rule. It's like the foul line. If you're in the foul line spot ready to shoot a foul shot, you can't just run the three-point line, say hi to your teammate, think about it, wipe off your head, and then shoot. So when you get in that batter's box, one, you have to stay in there. When the pitcher gets the ball, you have 2-3 seconds. What's the call, catcher? Okay, here we go. Boom, we're pitching. Quicker, faster. The pace has got to be quicker. Throw the ball, more action. That's swing, that's hit the ball, that's put the ball into play, or that's strike him out, off to the next hitter. I think that would up the pace. I think that will make baseball more relevant, make it quicker, make it funner. That's my 2 cents in my baseball rule change.
I have to critique you because you critiqued me in the beginning of the episode. There's no funner. No such thing. There's no word funner. More fun.
More fun?
Other than that, now I can be nice to you. It was a great idea. The NFL does it. There's no huddles. It's an offensive-minded league now. They protect the quarterback because the quarterbacks is what people like to see. There's more. It's obviously Mitchell Trubisky's throwing for 300-plus yards. Like, the quarterbacks are excelling. The offense is excelling. It's more views. The ratings are better than ever. The NBA is adapted to the three-point shot. It's entertaining. It's up and down. It's fast-paced. You can't tackle Steph Curry on the ground anymore and hand-check him. He could pull up from 30 and shoot threes. It's more entertaining. The people are speaking, and I agree. I think this could truly change baseball to be more fast-paced.
Thanks, Cuzzo.
And what I would add, if I was the commissioner of the MLB, there's 30 teams, 162 games of the season. I'm making a drastic move, Dave. I'm cutting the season in half. It is now 80 games. That's way too many games to keep people interested and invested. Of course, you're going to get the hardcore, diehard baseball fans like our Uncle Robert. You'll get that. But not everyone is a hardcore, diehard fan. So what you need to do is make it 80 games where every game now matters. There's a sense of urgency. You can't miss this game now because it can mean so much more than, there's 162 games. We still got a long season ahead of ourselves. 80 games is still a lot of games, but now every game has meaning. Like you said, if you make the game fast-paced, people stay tuned. If you shorten what you get, the content, that content is now more valuable. And I think MLB would gain so many more people, just regular average viewers tuning in every night. Their ratings would go up. It'd be more entertaining. And if you implement yours as well, baseball would now be a modernized sport instead of old-fashioned.
Wow, okay. One big thing I'm listening to it, I'm like, I like this a lot, but one thing that might
Let's hear it.
Drastic. All the records.
Things change, man. Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points. That's never happening again. He also averaged 55 rebounds one time. It's not going to happen. But you just got to change. Some records are meant to be broken.
But, the best, the most home runs, the most strikeouts, the most wins would definitely never be broken because there's just not enough games. But that's the only thing I thought of. The content is better. I like the idea, but players would be like, wow, there would never be a new home run king.
Well, think about it like this.
Sure.
Well, maybe you could just set the new record book type of thing. Flip the page, skip a page, and now this is the new set of rules as far as records being broken.
We're starting it over the next 100 years is this.
Yeah, and because look at, I'm referring back to basketball, It was so much more fast-paced. There was no three-point line. There were so many more possessions in a game. So it's hard to compare that to players now, and honestly, we don't. If we compared it, Wilt Chamberlain is probably the greatest of all time. Bill Russell is, 11 championships. But us as consumers, as a fan base, realize that. We're smart enough to realize it's two completely different games, and you can't compare that. It's apples and oranges. And I think people in the MLB will do the same. They're well-educated. They love the game of baseball. They'll realize, okay, well, the statistics are different, so let's compare the players we have now and compare those statistics. Hear me on that one?
Yeah, I do. That could work. I liked it. That persuaded me to change my mind. I like it.
That's the whole point of this podcast, guys. We're changing sports. We're not here to just absorb what we watch. Let's change what we watch, and I think we're doing it.
We're not here to take part, Max.
We're here to take over. We can take over by you clicking that button, download, subscribe, Locked In with 2 N's. Make sure you put a space there. All podcast platforms. Dave, you have any finishing touches, any last words?
Definitely. Don't quit 15 minutes before a dream comes true. Did you like that?
I do love it. I know the quote now, so I'm so familiar with that quote now. It's like an alarm clock when I hear it. It's like, oh, God.
Also, don't drink and drive.
That's important right there. Okay, now let's end on that one. Guys, do not drink and drive. Download and subscribe to the Locked In podcast before you start driving. And like always, stay locked in.